Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning and welcome. It's Nurse Richard the Wax Wizard. Thank you for joining me. Right, what's going on in this here? I've totally forgotten. Oh yes, I remember now. So yeah, there was a gentleman who came to see me. This is a fine end tube, this. And he didn't say his hearing was terrible, but he said it certainly wasn't as good as it used to be. And you can see why, because it's half blocked, and I don't know how it's ended up down here, to be honest. And it's stuck right at the bottom of his ear canal. Now, he denied using anything to poke anything in there. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But he says not, and I take his word for it, actually. He seemed quite surprised when I showed him this. But I've thought about roasting myself, actually, with a couple of procedures on this video, because I just mauled about too long. And what I did there, I went for the wrong piece. I should have seen that was a bit thinner and a bit looser than the other half, so it didn't all come together. I should have gone to the right of that. But, nobody's perfect all the time. In fact, nobody's perfect any of the time, to be honest. Which is why I enjoy doing this sometimes, because I can watch myself back. And sometimes I'll be watching some of them and I'm thinking, no, that was rubbish, that, mate. That was absolutely terrible. You could have done that so much quicker. Not so much this one, because this is delicate work. This is right on someone's eardrum, so you have to take time, be quite careful. But it came out quite quickly, this, and it did make a difference. It brought a bit of clarity back to him. The second one, you can see it nice and clear here. The second one after this, I did watch it back and I think, my goodness, you're making a meal out of this one. There are a few reasons why, and I'll explain why you see it. Now, have a look at this. This was absolutely rock solid. And he fully admitted to poking around in there with cotton buds and all sorts over the years. I don't think he'd had this done before. Because it was so solid, I thought, I'm not going to get anywhere with suction here. So I do use other tools, for those who are wondering. So you get the first bit out with the forceps. A vain hope that all of it will come away with that. It very rarely does, to be honest with you. Weird watching that. And I realised why I was making an idiot of myself just towards the end of this. And I'm thinking, why didn't you spot that? Why didn't you do that first? So let's get, you might be able to see it already, actually, after this bit anyway. So obviously there's a huge, big, dark rock-like thing in there. But what you can also see is a thin layer of skin, but it's quite thick, actually, at the bottom of it. Now, why I didn't think to myself, you need to get that out first, because that's what's holding it in, I have got no idea. But for some reason, I started mauling around with the bit behind it, thinking, yeah, let's do this first. Now, I've got the Cawthorn hook in here, which again, by far my favourite tool. And you have no idea how solid this thing is, because that is sharp. It is really sharp. I know you can't appreciate it from this, but it's minuscule. It's probably smaller than a toothpick, the end of that. So obviously you have to be careful. And what I'm doing here, I'm not just playing around with it. I'm feeling like, well, I was playing around with it a bit later on, to be honest, when I looked at it again. I'm feeling to see how hard this thing is. And so I'm going down the side of it and turning it inwards. And I'm turning it inwards in the vain hope. And it was a very, very vain hope that it was going to dig in. I was going to find a soft part or a little ridge or a little ledge kind of thing, which is kind of what I've got there. And you can get that embedded into it, because there was no way you could put this hook in it. It was just way too solid. And yeah, you probably could get it behind it, but for me that comes with a few too many risks, because when you've got something this sharp in someone's ear, I would rather see the end of it. I don't want to put it that deep down the ear and turn it around, and you can never be 100% sure where the tip of that is in relation to the skin on the ear canal, which is very sensitive. And so I'm always really, really wary. I am also being quite careful, because this thing is so sharp. It's rare earwax removal is painful. It's really rare. But it can be for ones like this, when it's a really hardened up piece and it's a kind of an irregular shape. Pardon me, I just swallowed a burp then. I've just had my dinner, I do apologise. I'm not recording this again. Never do 2 takes. Anyone who's ever watched any of my videos will know that. If something goes wrong or something happens, just carry on. I'm not recording it again. I haven't got time. I've got too much to do at the moment. What was I saying now? I've completely forgotten. Hopefully that doesn't come up on the recording. yeah, what was I saying? Oh my God. This is what happens when you get to my age. Yeah, it can be quite painful, that was it. If it's sharp edges and irregular as you're moving it around in the ear canal, and these sharp edges, when you're mulling it around, can sometimes catch or graze the side of the ear canal, and that can be quite uncomfortable. So I couldn't dig it in there, so I thought let's just try and bring it forward with a full-size tube and see if that happens, see if that can start to make things happen, should I say. It didn't really, until I finally realised that it's the skin underneath it that's anchoring it down. And when I realised that to myself, I thought, oh no, you're an idiot. I felt such a fool when I was watching it. But I'm always going to show you imperfect procedures. I'm not going to show you the ones where I got it perfect every time, because that's not real life, is it? And this is. So you can see I finally figured it out now. Must have been a long day, this. So I finally figured out that you're only going to get this out if you loosen that bit up there. So let's do that. And as soon as I manage to separate that bit, it's like magic, out it comes. And I'm thinking to myself now, why didn't you do that earlier? But it's good to watch things back and reflect. Makes you better if you can be brave enough to criticise your own mistakes, of which I've made a few. Nothing dangerous, I hasten to add. Oh, no dad jokes yet, have I? I haven't told any. And I did get a book ready as well. So shall we have a few? If you've not watched any of these videos before, I get bored of talking about earwax sometimes, so tell a few jokes sometimes, despite a lot of people saying, don't give up your day job. I really don't care. As I've said before, in probably one of the wax roasts, it's my channel, I can do what I want on it. A lot of people seem to like me having these on it. So here's a few more. My grandfather invented the rear view mirror, made millions, and he's never looked back since. I like that one. To the person who stole my place in line, I'm after you now. Archaeology really is a career in ruins. Terrible. Why do vampires have no friends? Because they suck. Two more. Do mascara and lipstick ever argue? Sure, but then they make up. Last one. My teachers told me I'd never amount to anything because I just procrastinate too much. If you don't know what that means, go and look it up. I just told them, just you wait. As you can see, this is a bit of a red ear canal after that, isn't it? Which it's going to be, to be honest, because it's had that like rock wobbling around in it for who knows how long. But he did notice a big difference when it came out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. But for now, take care of yourself. I'll hopefully post some more videos of me making a mess of things. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Ta-da.